Welcome everyone to the first session under Consumer Special Interest Group by TiE Chennai, which we are relaunching today with this session. Consumer Special Interest Group is a community in TiE Chennai for businesses in the consumer space, both product and service. The chair for this consumer SIG is Mr. V.M. Rajshekharan, charter member at TiE Chennai and a leadership coach, as well as Mr. Sriram Sanjeevi, who is the vice president at Levista Coffee. Before we introduce the session and the speaker for you, I would like to invite VMR to say a few words about the SIG. Thank you.
Yeah, hi friends. Thank you so much, Priya and Akila, for putting this entire special interest group for consumer products together. Actually, last year, the year before last, we tried to do something in this, and we had some interest. We didn't know how to take it forward. It's very heartening to note that this particular initiative has got over 100 registrations. More so because of the speaker who's going to talk to us, and also for the subject, which is about consumer products. So just to give you a preamble of what our thoughts are about the special interest group for consumer products is, if you really look at it, a consumer product is born basically because of a consumer need, which is researched and then tested out and then launched. After launching, you promote the product and then distribute it and then take it through and make it a big success. There have been enormous stories about excellent products which have done very well, and there have been some instances where somehow bombed badly also. So we have in this group people who are wanting to know something about research, wanting to know something about launching a product, product testing, product quality, competition analysis, marketing, distribution, etc. Coincidentally, the president of TiE Chennai, Mr. C.K. Ranganathan, has launched several brands, and he knows a lot about the subject. So I think we are on a good wicket to talk about and deliberate over the next 1 year about various aspects of consumer products. A small note about or a word about Rajesh Srivastava, whom I know for over 35 years. Rajesh is an expert in consumer products. He's dealt with various products right from the time when a need is identified and how the product can be launched and then taken through to the consumer successfully. He has orchestrated many success points. So he's going to share with us, and the entire the SIG is going to comprise of, I think Priya will explain to you a little later, maybe 2 events in a month. One is going to be a speaking session like what Rajesh is starting off for us for the first. The second one is going to be a mentoring session where some of the so-called experts like us, we got a lot of people who have registered as mentors also. We will come and sit in the mentoring sessions, ask us anything you want, and we'll be able to try and clarify here. That's somewhere around the 3rd or 4th Wednesday of the month. So looking forward to a very exciting year with all of you, and thank you so much. Over to you, Priya. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Mr. Sriram to say a few words.
Good evening to all. Thank you, Priya. Thank you, Mr. VMR, and thank you to our special guest, Mr. Rajesh Srivastava. I'm sorry I'm not able to show my face because I'm shifting home today and I'm not in the best of my looks. And yesterday being Ugadi, we had to do the shifting today. So sincere apologies that I'm not able to turn on the video, but I'm going to be here very eagerly looking forward to hearing the speaker's notes and of course to interact with each and every one of you. So first of all, I would like to thank all the members who have joined the Consumer SIG on the Telegram platform, and also in principle wanting to contribute as well as learn from the TiE Consumer SIG. And as Mr. Prakash, who is the lead, he just said some time back, it's a
maybe some connection issues.
Yeah.
I think then we'll move forward. Once he joins, he can. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. And now it's time for us to introduce today's session and the speaker. and the session is going to be on how to create world-class consumer brands in India. So in today's session, we'll learn what is the inspiration for creating world-class brands, some insights into how to spot opportunities in the market, and various strategies for converting opportunities into a brand. We have with us Mr. Rajesh Srivatsa, former CEO of JK Helen Curtis, adjunct faculty IIM Indore, corporate trainer, Penguin author of New Rules of Business. Rajesh Srivatsa graduated from IIT Kanpur and IIM Bangalore. He has over 3 decades of corporate and academic experience. At United Spirits, he played a significant role in creating some of India's most recognized, beloved, and enduring alcohol brands, including McDowell Signature, Royal Challenge, Bagpiper, and Blue Riband Duet. He went on to become the president of JK Helen Curtis, where he re-energized the company and the deodorant category by relaunching Park Avenue deodorant as a perfume. Today, perfume has become a generic benefit for the deodorant category. On behalf of everyone and TiE Chennai, I invite you, sir, and request you to take over. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Priya. So I'll share my screen. uh, so I call Mr. Raj Shekharan Raj. So thanks, Raj, for reposing faith in me, and Priya for that wonderful introduction. So, friends, I'm going to start off by sharing these brands with you. So, let's save each minute, and I want it to be very interactive. So you can have a look at some of the brands. There is Arvind Eye Care. There is Bagpiper Whiskey, which was India's largest and world's largest. There is Thumbs Up, which continues to be India's #1 cola, despite you having Coca-Cola and Pepsi. You have Taj, is become a landmark where people gave their life for somebody they did not know, the guests. There's Kingfisher. There is India's largest detergent, which is not from a multinational company, but from a small town called Kanpur. There is Mumbai Dabbawala, who have created this entire product where they deliver 6 Sigma level of service delivery, which means 3.2 wrong deliveries per million delivery. FedEx has come to study them, and Ritz-Carlton has come to study how they deliver service. Then there is deodorant. Deodorant category was 66 crore in the year 2002. In 2002, it was 66 crore. Today, it is 6,000 crores. It's grown 100 times in roughly about 19 years. How did that happen? And again, done by an Indian. Then many of you may not be aware, but there is a concept called the premixed gin, which is Blue Riband Duet. It created a new category, and this was the first brand that set the market growth for white spirit. Just to tell you that white spirits in India in the year 1990 was less than 4%. In India, white spirit was less than 4% because in 1990 people drank alcohol to get high, and white spirits like gin, vodka were considered to be, in manner of exaggeration, water. So no one had it. And gin had a disadvantage. It was perceived to be a woman's drink, which causes impotency in men. And therefore, gin was growing even less. But Blue Riband Duet ignited the entire white spirits segment. Later on came Bacardi, etc., etc. Today, white spirit segment is a dominant segment. There is no party that is complete in India unless you have vodka, which is a white spirit. Again, Captain Cook Salt. It is one of those brands which dislodged Desh Ka Namak, India's favorite salt, and plus took on multinational salts. In merely 3 years, it almost came to becoming the #1 brand. Right now, these are some of the brands that I want you to pick and choose. Right? Is there anyone that you want me to start off with, or do you want me to take any one of them? Anyone?
Rajesh, if I can take the liberty to request you to talk about Captain Cook.
That was Sriram. Okay, let's start with Captain Cook.
Okay.
I want you to just remember here. And this is something that none of you forget. Every great brand Every great brand has something which is a 2 word. Don't ever forget it. That's called consumer insight. Every great brand has a consumer insight, and the brand success is based on consumer insight. Now, what was the consumer insight for salt? First, I want to tell you how the problem was discovered, how the product was created, and how it was sold. The first principle was a research was, conversation. See, when in this world, and more importantly in my country, what is the strategy that companies follow to launch brands? And this, I call it the Sholay strategy or a success strategy. One brand succeeds in the market and everybody else follows that brand and launches a Me Too version. So that is called fast following. So one guy identifies the pain point, succeeds, and everybody fast follows. So instead of using the word copying, which is probably derogatory, it's called fast following. But if you want to create successful brand, then please do not follow anybody. And what is the basic perspective? Your perspective should not be to make a better version of a competitor's product. You are not in the business. You are not in the business of making a better product of your competitor. You are in the business of solving customers' problem. Having understood that we are in the business of not making a better version of our competitor's product, but understanding, identifying customers' pain point and resolving it, either reducing it or eliminating it. So every new brand or successful brand starts with customer and understanding the pain point that they have from the existing best solution. Can I just repeat this? If you want to launch a successful brand, don't look at the competitor and copy them and come out with a value for money version of that. You are not in the business of making a better product than your competitor. You are in the business of identifying customer pain point and then reducing or eliminating it. So the journey starts with customer. And if you are really passionate about creating world-class brand, then pick out the most dominant player in the market that you wish to enter and go and speak to their customers to find out what is the pain point they have. So in this case, in Captain Cook Salt case, the biggest and the most dominant player was Tata Salt, right? Now, Tata it's unbeatable. Tata stands for trust. So when we went to the homemaker, that time they were called housewife. Hey, listen, what's the problem you have? Everybody said, so what is the problem you have with Tata Salt? Everybody said, we have no problem. We trust the brand. It's a good brand. Then we asked them, is there any problem you have? Everybody said, no, we don't have a problem. When we understood that they don't have a problem, then how can you launch a brand which takes on the market leader and customers are saying, I have no problem. So they will never desert you or they will never leave their the number one brand, in this case, Tata Salt. But what you got to remember is like the game of cricket, T20. Although the opposition is scoring runs, but don't give up hope. There will be one chink in the armory when the batsman will get out. So keep discovering. So what happened was, when more and more observation happened, what we discovered is, so the first time is you research through the agency. And my entire perspective is that if you really want to create world-class brand, don't depend on the market research agency. You become the patient. You become your market researcher. You become the market researcher. When, let's say, I visited, the year is 1990. What was the basic premise that happened? So if you take any one of your household and just go back in 1990s, and I think it's true even today. If you go to an Indian kitchen, what you will find is that there is a bhani, there is a jar in which salt is kept. So you have a pillow pack, you get it from the market and you pour it. And how do housewives, and that time they were called housewives, not homemakers, how do they use salt? What is getting cooked is fine. To put salt, they put their finger inside the jar, take the salt and put it in the food. Whatever salt they want, they will dip their finger into it, take it out. that is what in Hindi is called andaz. That is where they get their frame of reference, how much salt is there, through their finger. So they take the salt, put it there. When this was noticed, what was also noticed, and I can't demonstrate it to you, but let me just say, what we noticed was that housewife after housewife were putting their finger in the jar kept in the kitchen, taking out the salt, putting it in the food. And after that, they would put their hand down, and on the sari, they will do like this, right? On their sari. I can't show my physical thing, but they'll do like this. One household, two households, three households. Then we asked, is this some kind of a ritual that after you put salt, you have to do this? They said, no. Then I said, why are you doing it? They said, don't you understand? I says, what? Salt is stuck to our finger. When we put our finger into the jar and put it there, some salt is sticking to our fingers, and that is what we are removing. That's when the genesis of this idea came, and this was a non-issue. Like, it's a non-issue, it's stuck there and they are removing it. So the genesis of the idea was very simple. The genesis was, can we come out with a salt which does not stick to the fingers, because then they don't have to do this, right? The basic idea is non-sticky salt. But non-sticky is a very is a consumer terrible word, non-sticky, it has very negative connotation. So this was the genesis of the idea, that can we come out with a salt which does not stick to the finger. Now the question is that if you have to come out with a salt that does not stick to the finger, you have to go back to how salt is actually manufactured, or how it reaches your house. There are salt pans. There are salt pans from which salt is aggregated. Once it is aggregated, there is a hose pipe that is taken and the salt is cleaned. A lot of that salt still has some mud in it, but it is cleaned. Washed. Once it is washed, then it is put into these packs, and then it comes through the retail and it comes to you. That was the process in 1990s. Salt pan, get it, wash and clean it so that all mud goes away, pack it in a pillow pack and sell it. So what we said is that if we really want to make this offer that it does not stick to your finger, then following the process of getting salt from salt pan and cleaning it, washing it and selling it will not sell, we'll have to set up a refinery. Why? Because when we did the research, what we found was that salt sticks to your finger because there is a particular chemical there. To make sure that the salt does not stick, you will have to coat that salt with certain chemicals. When you coat it with that chemical, it will not stick to your finger, right? This you can't do unless you set up a refinery. And when you set up a refinery, then another thing happens. You can make your salt more whiter, the granules can be more uniform, and because you want to make this benefit or offer this benefit, non-sticky, then you can coat it with a chemical or whatever. I mean, I'm just saying, right? Come out with a product that does not stick to your finger. So the second thing that was done after the problem was identified is to invest in setting up a refinery. So Captain Cook set up a refinery where the quality of the product was higher. And then was the marketing part. And this is where I think all of you, this has never been actually told, but this is a very important aspect that you got to remember. What is that aspect? Once the salt came, it was tested that it was not sticking to the finger, it was whiter, and the granules were more uniform because it was a refinery that was producing it. Then the decision is, how do you present it to the market? And that is where the advertising agency came. And they created a blockbuster ad. So instead of saying it is non-sticky, what was said is that it is a free-flowing salt. It did not stick. So a word was coined which was called free flow. Free flow means it does not stick. So it does not stick. Stickiness is negative. It has negative connotation and non-food like. So it was given a positive spin. And then that ad came. I can show you that ad where it was different than anything that was seen in the world. What was that ad? The lady who was supposed to be proponent was talking all negative about Captain Cook salt. So there was a demonstration that was done. There was 2 jars in the television commercial. On one side was Captain Cook, on the other side was Tata salt. Then the lady says in Hindi, "Ye hai aapka manpasand namak. This is your favorite salt," which is, it did not, I mean, whichever pack was shown. And ye hai naya Captain Cook salt, right? Ye kitna acha hai, kitna acha hai. And then it shows ye kitna lumpiness. When you pour that manpasand namak into that jar, it is lumpy. whereas Captain Coke goes free flow, right? And it demonstrates. And then finally it ends with a tagline, इसमें है वही जो आपके मनपसंद नमक में नहीं. This salt has what? Has that which your favorite salt does not have, which is free flow. But the decoding, the way the film was constructed was very simple. We never sold salt, we sold modernity. What does that mean? If we had said it is only free flow, people wouldn't have bought it. But the image that was created because of that ad was that Captain Coke is more modern compared to its competitors. And how did we achieve it? Through the packaging, through the English brand name. So you can see the packaging, the colorfulness, the English brand name, the advertisement, the attitude of that advertisement, free flow, taking a contra thing, इसमें है वही जो आपके मनपसंद नमक में नहीं, ये है नया Captain Coke salt. All that thing, what it did was it created a more modern image compared to the competitor. And how did we discover that? We went to, let's say, a housewife. Let's say we went to Rajshekar's house and we asked his wife, Madam, tell us, one of your friend has Tata salt in her kitchen. A friend has Tata salt and B friend of yours has Captain Coke salt. Can you describe what is the personality of friend A and friend B? And Mrs. Rajshekar would say, my friend who has a Tata salt in her kitchen is actually a housewife. She has 2 children. She's working in, she does not work outside. So she's a typical housewife. Then we said, if your friend has a Captain Coke salt, then how would you describe her personality? And she said she will be younger, she will be working, she'll have 1 kid, and she'll be the companion to her husband. So what I wish to tell you is that what is it that we did? We did not want to make a better version. We wanted to understand the pain point of the customer from their existing best solution, which was the biggest brand. When we went there, we found that they were happy with it. And this is the other problem that you will discover when you want to launch world-class brand. The market leader may solve all customers' problem and customer may not be aware of the problem that they face. And therefore it is up to you to identify and say, this is the problem that I think you face. Much like Steve Jobs. Nokia in 2007 had 67% market share and it had $367 billion market cap. If people were asked, what do you want? They would have said, we want a better version of Nokia. But what did Steve Jobs realize? That customers didn't need a better version of Nokia, they wanted a smartphone. So customers really at times don't know what they want. It is up to you to determine what is the problem they face and tell them this is the problem you have and this is the solution. Right? A. The second thing, like Steve Jobs' smartphone, this salt, Captain Coke salt, was a superior product. It was made in a refinery. One of them was very close to Chennai. Right? So just don't make a claim. And this is again something that I wish to say. In my country, we make a claim, but we don't come good on that claim. The brand that succeed are whom? The brand that succeed are they make a promise and they come good on the promise. For that, they invest in making sure that the product is good. That's the second lesson. The third lesson is you may have a good product, but that will never capture the market. No matter whether you're selling alcohol or whiskey, what people consume is an image. And therefore, if you can, through whichever medium you have, your advertising, press, social media, if you can create a more modern image of your brand, people consume image, not the product, right? So these are some of the things that I wanted to share with you. Any question anyone has, please? Any question anyone has?
Rajesh,
Fantastic,
Yes.
Rajesh. Sorry, VMR sir. Fantastic, Rajesh. Thank you for the
very
insights.
nice, Rajesh.
Very
One
nice.
question,
Very,
how do
very.
you get to understand or realize the needs, like how you said?
You have to go, and Raj, this is where I'm saying, so can I, and I'm just going to build on some of the principles.
Yeah, sure.
First principle I said is customers may not know what their pain point is. It is you who have to actually discover it through observation. Raj, coming to this, there is a concept called design. Oh, you guys have done a workshop on design thinking. Design thinking, the essence. And friends, I want you to discover, if you want to create world-class brand, then you have to understand what design thinking is. In 1990s, design thinking did not exist, but that's exactly what we did. Customer centricity, human-centered approach to solving customers' problem. We looked upon our customers as human and try to understand what the problem is. And one of the ways to discover, Raj, what problem they have is to become the patient, to become the customer. So you have to get out of your home and go and see how customers are using your product or your competitor's product. You have to empathize with them and understand that this is a problem that they think they don't have, but this is actually the problem. So can I just say, design thinking, one of the things in design thinking is human-centeredness, empathy, compassion. And empathy, compassion, Raj, cannot be second-hand. You can't tell a market researcher, go and tell me. If you really have compassion and you are committed to solving a customer's problem, you will go to the customer where they consume the product in their real life situation, and then you will discover hundreds of problems that they have.
Yeah.
Brilliant to hear this. Very, very insightful points. And the reason why I chose salt was
Can I
essentially
just
that.
say one more thing, sir? Can I just say one more thing? I will show you the ad also, if you permit me some time. It was the best ad that never ran on television. It was made by Prahlad Kakkar and Ambi. Raj, Ambi's counterpart, Sashi Sinha, was the guy who made this, the agency was FCB Ulka, who made this ad. I just want to say this. And friends, just remember this. We launched Captain Cook salt in a can. The pillow pack was priced at 4 rupee 50 paisa, 1 kilo salt at 4 rupee 50 paisa. This can salt was launched for, if I remember right, 14 rupee 50 paisa or 16.50 somewhere. Let's assume it was at 16 or 18 rupees a kilo. There's no difference in salt. There's no difference in salt, Raj, but pillow pack is 4 rupee 50 paisa and we launched this in can at 18 rupees. Everybody said no one will buy it. You know why we launched it? The reason for launching Captain Cook salt was the same principle. I'll just share with you. If you take the India's biggest textile company, right, who makes suiting, I don't want to take the brand name, you know it, right? I worked there. In the ad, for that matter, not them, even Armani or you take Gucci, anyone, what they do is they will show you the suit, which the cloth is for 1 lakh rupees. The suiting is for 1 lakh rupees. Right, in the ad. How many people buy that 1 lakh suiting? Maybe 3 or 4, Raj. That too, when the chairman of that company calls his friend and says, yeah, please buy it. Then why is it there? It is there for a simple reason that the image of 1 lakh will put in other customers into the store and they will buy that brand which fits their budget. Right? So this is the second thing. So why did we do this? We wanted to own this brand called Free Flow. So if you see this nozzle here, the nozzle was thin and we wanted housewives, and now they were turning into homemakers. We wanted them to give up their old style, traditional style of using this and start using it the Western style. So you take this can and you pour it. But the beauty of this was by coming out with this pack, we were reinforcing or re-owning the space called Free Flow. So our sales rep said, sir, they will take your can and they will buy your competitor's brand and put it into this. And the answer to that was good if they put it into it, because that is not free flowing, it will not come out. And every time they do this, they will realize Captain Cook is a superior salt, because if they took this can and they filled it with a competing brand, when you pour it, it will not come out because that guy is not free flowing. Are you getting the point? So this is a marketing strategy to reinforce and not to get sales volume. And this would lie at all retail stores, reinforcing the image that it is a free flowing salt. And when you come out with this packaging, it enhances the image. And go back to what I said, Captain Cook was never sold as a salt. It was sold as a modernity. If you are modern, then the salt you have to have in your kitchen is Captain Cook salt. And I want you to go back, once you sell image, this is what happens in my country. My mother, when she went to get vegetable, she would negotiate for 4 annas and 20 paisa. But here, she happily gave 50 paisa more, so the other brands were priced at 4 rupees. Captain Cook by definition was priced at 4 rupee 50 paisa, right? And housewife left their home saying, I want Captain Cook, and they paid that price premium. Now, what is the marketing thinking behind it is very important. It's really important. Why was it priced higher? It was priced higher based on a consumer insight. In absence of any other indicator, price is the most important indicator of the quality of the product. In absence of any other indicator, price is the most important indicator of the quality of the product. Now, Captain Cook is new. The other brands have been in the market for years. If we had priced it same, people would have said quality same. But if we priced it high, in absence of any other indicator, 4 rupee 50 paisa compared to 4 indicated to the homemaker that this product is of a superior quality. So these are some of the insights that I want to share with you. Right? I'll show you that ad later on. But is there any other question anyone has? And which other brand would you want me to take? Friends, which other brand would you want me to take? Do you why don't you just key it into your chat box and we can pick it up? So I just want to say Arvind Eye Care, which is very close to you. Bagpiper, which was made into India's #1 and world's #1. Khoob jamega rang jab mil baithenge teen yaar. There's Park Avenue the deodorant category exploded by 100 times by an Indian through superior thinking. Taj, how people gave up their life for somebody they did not know their guest. Which one would you prefer? Anyone?
Yeah, lots of mention in the chat box, Rajesh.
Yes.
Bagpiper, Taj.
Taj.
So which is
Thumbs
the one, Priya? Just tell me which one should I take?
Maybe Taj. Seems
Priya,
to be.
this is Jayantra from TiE Coimbatore. Could I just ask a question?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rajesh. Just in the interest of trying to relate to some of our entrepreneurs, I'm a charter member from Coimbatore and part of the SIG group launched by TiE Chennai. I'm just wondering, these are amazing stories that you shared, and I've taken copious notes for Captain Cook. Great learning for me. But in the interest of some of the entrepreneurs who are launching a brand which may not be very large scale, or they might not have investment to take on a Tata Salt kind of brand. So could we also look at, some of these new age brands who have gone like digital first or in the apparel or the fashion industry, and how your principles could be applied for them? That would really help us a lot.
So okay, fair. Fair point. So can I just share that right away?
Sure.
Right. So there are two options, and you can tell me which one. The community. Do you want me the answer of the gentleman? When somebody has no money, then how does one go about doing it? That's the first option A. So you can key in A, and B option is Taj. So you can say A or B.
A it is.
It is A. So here, so your name again?
Yeah, my name is Jayantra. I'm a TiE charter member from Coimbatore.
Jayantra.
Thank you, sir.
Jayantra, so can I start off by saying, have you heard of a technology company called Dropbox?
Yes, very much.
So can I share an example of Dropbox?
Wonderful. Thank you, sir.
Now take a look here, Jayantra. And guys, please take a look here. And I think, Jayantra, you mentioned something that you please make a note and don't ever forget to not remember this principle. You know what that principle is? Unlike in the times of industrial era, what is industrial era? Industrial Revolution 3 and Industrial Revolution 2, right? Now we are in 4 IR, fourth industrial revolution is upon us. In the earlier, forget 1, right? 2 and 3, what was happening? We were mass manufacturing and making a claim. But we were never sure whether we would go down that claim, and it did not bother us. Neither did it bother the customer. Why? Because there was shortage of product, distribution was the key. So less competition, absence of competitive environment, Distribution was the key. So produce, distribute, and that was the case in India before 1991. I worked for alcoholic beverage industry, and the guy who supplied label, mono carton is Mr. Raj Shekhar. The only thing that we asked him is, when will you supply? Right? This was India. Now come to the year 2005 and thereafter, and I'll just make not 2005, I'll want to make it 2008. This is when technology companies came in, and I'm just taking this example of Dropbox. Now, you remember some of the principles that we learned, the principles haven't changed. So how did the idea of Dropbox come about? The idea of Dropbox came about because one of the founders, he had a presentation to make. He did all the hard work, what they call I think in B schools, I've become too old now, they call it the night out, right? They spend the whole night doing that preparation and this thing. And after having done the presentation the whole night, he went to the place where he had to make the presentation, only to realize when he went there that the pen drive on which his presentation was left back in his office. Right? And he was very embarrassed. He was very frustrated. He was very angry. So what did he do? What was the pain point? I do all the hard work. I go to the place and I find that I don't have a pen drive. So you remember that proverb that for a want of a shoe nail, they lost the war. For that want of that pen drive, they lost the thing. So Raj, again here, I just want to add here. One is that you can go to the customer and see their pain point, or you become the customer and you can experience the pain point and then solve it. If you are the person who's experienced that pain point and you're determined to solve it, then you will create the next Uber. So what happened in Dropbox? The guy faced this problem. I did all the hard work, went for the presentation, and I've forgotten the pen drive back home. And then he came out with the concept, why can't I be independent? That means I don't have to carry this pen drive with me anywhere. I do the thing, I upload it, and wherever I go, right, I can just download it and my presentation is on there, is on. So you got the genesis of the problem. Every problem, every big company, whether it is Uber, Airbnb, everyone has this kind of a discovery of the problem. And most often, the person who experienced it and felt it was a personal problem and solved it came out with companies like Dropbox. So this is what happened. So they got down to designing Dropbox, which was, so to speak, a storage thing where you could store things and download at your will wherever you are, right? Internet was required. They invested every single thing to make sure that people who use Dropbox have a positive experience, right? Now, they did not want to sell it as a product, not as a service, but as an experience. So experience marketing is something that's becoming very, very important. We can talk about it if you wish. Now here, so what did Dropbox do? They invested every single cent that they have in making sure that the product was so good that the product will do its own selling. The product is so good, it will do its own selling. Result was what? By the time they perfected the product and it was going to be launched, they had no money. They had zero money. They only had a product and no money to advertise, no money to create awareness, no money to create desire, no money for anything. Then what did they do? Simple. This guy went and let's say right now I have, let's say 4. I have Raj, Priyadarshini, Srinivas, Mr. Srinivasan, Karthikeyan, everybody. I go to each one of these guys and say, listen, yeah, I'm giving you this space free of cost. Use it. Now Raj used it. He liked it. And he put out a social media post saying this is good. And because the product was good, to every person among his friend circle who he gave this for sampling, they loved the product so much that they put out a post. Consumer insight. What is a consumer insight? Consumer insight, and remember, all these brands are based on solid data. So it is not just I felt like that, I did it. It's based on solid data. What is the consumer insight and data? When a company advertises its brand saying I'm good, believability of that messaging of a company is just between 20 to 49%, which means what? If let's say, I'm just saying, If I am the author of this book called The New Rules of Business, and I tell you this is a good book, you will only believe me between 20 to 49%. Why? Because I'm the author. How can I tell you something that is wrong about it? Right? So when the person who owns the brand tells you it is good through advertisement, television, the believability is only between 20 to 49%. But when a real person says that this book is good, a real person, the believability jumps to 70%. And when a person known to you says, yeah, this book is good, yeah, you must buy it, the believability jumps to 90%. This is data statistic AC Nielsen. This is a global data. What is the data? Again, repeating for you. When you advertise and say, I'm good, believability is less than 49%. When real people say you are good, believability jumps to 70%. And when your friends, acquaintance, people known to you say it is good, then the believability jumps to 90%. What does it mean? When real people speak and people close to you speak, it is called buzz. Buzz means customers speak word of mouth, right? Now they call it buzz. Now, what was Dropbox doing? It gave it to its friends to sample, and they put out posts saying, man, this is a super awesome product, you must try it. When real people put posts on social media saying it's a great product, the believability was 70%. And people in that social media network, you know, in Facebook, everybody will be your friend, right? To whom it will go at least 90%. So the believability among them was almost 90%, and everybody went for the free sampling. And this is where the second thing happened. What was the second thing that happened, Srinivasan? It was a very simple thing. Say I gave Raj a particular space. He put out a positive post. The moment I see he's put out a positive post, I will increase the size of the storage that I give him. Now, what have I done without bribing him? I have rewarded, or so to speak, rewarded his behavior to go and post on social media. So people tried the product, they posted on social media, their friends saw it, believability was high, they went and tried this. And everybody who posted positive review, they gave them more space. So they rewarded the behavior they wanted their friends to display. More and more friends put out more posts, more people saw it, more people came. As a result, the product was so good that when they tried it, it became a big hit. Now you will say that's Dropbox. Can I come to a more product like Tesla? Again, Tesla is using the same principle, but this is called alternate media. What is alternate media, Jayanto? Just remember, before, till industrial 3 IR, third industrial revolution, we used 5 vehicles to create brands: television, radio, cinema, this is called ambient media, and press. But companies like Amazon, Starbucks, Tesla, Steve Jobs, they said traditional media is not for me. It's too much of expense with no equation, meaning I invest this much, that doesn't guarantee me this much of business. So they came out with alternate media. So Jayanto, this is for you. If you are an entrepreneur and you want to create awareness, desire, trial, then use this 4 alternate media, and I'll give you how Elon Musk used it to launch Model 3. Jayanto, the question is for you. Have you heard of Model 3, Tesla Model 3? Yes or no?
Yes, Mr. Rajesh.
Have you seen an ad for it?
No.
Then how did you come to know?
Social media, news.
There. And so Jayanto, here is what I'm going to tell you. So the 4 alternatives that Elon Musk used, which was actually started by Steve Jobs, is buzz. Buzz is customer speak. Second is PR. PR is press right. Third is event. And fourth is digital media. Now let's come here and Model 3 and Elon Musk. The day Elon Musk launched Model 3, that model was also not ready. It was not on the stage. You can check out his video. So what did he do? In San Francisco, he hired a hall. In the hall, he got press people and connoisseurs of automobiles. And what did he come and tell them? So that auditorium in which he got this was an event. What was that event? Raj, we've done it so many times in alcoholic beverages to launch a new brand. That was an event. In that event, what did Elon Musk do? Again, messaging has to be proper. He did not educate them about Tesla being clean energy. He said a simple thing. Till now, Tesla was costing $77,000. Model 3 is $37,000, which includes $7,000 discount given by the US government for a clean green car. So for $37,000, you can get Tesla 37. Now at $37,000, they were competing with Honda and Ford. Now come here. What have they done? Elon Musk did an event of announcing the new car. So event. Second, the moment he said this is at 37,000, people started talking among themselves, which is it created a buzz. The reporters there put out their articles on Elon Musk, launches Model 3 at $37,000, etc. After reading PR, what did Jayanto do? He spoke to his friend. Oh, you know what? Elon Musk has launched a Tesla at $37,000. That's how word of mouth got built. And the second thing that happened is people sitting in that auditorium, what did they do? They started tweeting. So if you are aware now that for any launch in India, they also get social media influencers. So the influencers sitting in Elon Musk stadium and auditorium, they started tweeting, hey, Musk launches Model 3 at 37,000, man, gorgeous, affordable. The whole digital media was on fire. So what did he do, Jayanto? Did he spend any money except for hiring that? No money. He did not pay anyone to create a buzz. The product did the buzz. He did not pay the press guy. The product was so good that the press had to write about it. The only thing that he did was event, hire that hall, and digital media was on fire because both the press and influencers and customers like us were posting, retweeting, reposting everything. Are you with me?
Thank you. Thank you. It was very useful. Thank you for answering.
Thank you. Priyadarshini, any other question anyone has, or let me see, I can see the chat box. Okay. Off topic, can you throw some colors on B2B brands? Oh, anything. Hey, just one sec. Shayan Ghosh, every single thing that I've said here is more applicable to B2B than to B2C. You can tell me a brand which you can't apply this. Rubia, how is this believability relevant in the age of influencers and celebrities? Hey, Rubia, the things are two. What did I say? If Raj is my friend, I'm not talking about Insta influencers who are paid to put out positive messaging. I'm talking about real people. If Raj is your friend, I'm just assuming, and Raj says this book is good, you're likely to believe him 90% because he's your friend and there is no axe, or he will never do things that will harm you. So how is this believability relevant in the age of influencers? So let me just tell you, influencers and celebrities, if there's something called law of intention. If a person is an Insta paid celebrity, you will come to know that the person is a paid celebrity and the believability will get knocked down to the advertising level. Are you with me? David Ogilvy said this: housewife is not a moron, she's your wife. Customers are not morons. They can understand when it is a paid influencer or it's an influencer. Same case with celebrities. You must have seen Dharmender ad there, right? And then a lot of celebs advertised. Celeb advertisement has merit when there is a good fit between the brand personality, brand positioning, and the celebrity. Right? If I had got, I'm just giving a terrible example, please don't take it. If I had got Vishwanathan Anand, the chess guy, to endorse Bagpiper, you would hold your head and say, man, this guy's gone crazy. So when you do, so please just let's come down to this. What do most advertisers and most brand managers do? To gain instant awareness, they use the simplest and the easiest formula is to get a celebrity or an influencer to talk about their brand. That is an easy way out. The difficult way out is to understand your brand, understand the personality, what you want to communicate, and get the celebrity to do that. Then it works. Like Dharmender, खूब जमेगा रंग जब मिल बैठेंगे तीन यार, आप मैं और Bagpiper. This was done in 1991. When many of you may not be born, then why do you remember it? There's a good fit, right? Sometimes consumers don't know the problem, right? Brands have to say problem with solution. Of course, see, what is a brand? Brand is a solution to the problem. No, why do you buy any brand? Take this book. If you buy it, why do you buy it? There's a problem that you don't know the rules of business and you want to know it. I'm just telling you, in my time, this is Royal Challenge, right? I wanted to share this. No one asked me, so I'm going to tell you anyway, not the whole story. This is Royal Challenge, the pack that was done with ITC PPD in the year 1999, right? Now, what is the big idea? The big idea is that I thought that the positioning we want, at least I wanted when I handled it, is Royal Challenge is Scotch at Indian prices. Royal Challenge is Scotch at Indian prices, right? And then I packaged it, promoted it in a manner that you really experience Scotch. So what is the problem? People want to drink Scotch. It is very expensive. So I gave them Scotch at Indian prices. Worked. Right? Any other question? I'm interested in hearing the digital first brand. I think we did this. Can we go to Taj now? Priyadarshini, is that okay? Raj, is it okay if we go to Taj? Any other perspective or any other brand you would want? Anyone? Just key in, please. Off topic. Sometimes consumers don't know. I think we did this. Anyone here? Any other brand? Just key in whichever brand. Can I just tell you the brand? Taj Hotel, Bagpiper Whiskey, Arvind Eye Care, right? Thumbs Up, Kingfisher. Why does Kingfisher still have 67% market share, my friends? Okay. So there is 2 for Taj, 2 for Thumbs Up. Can I take any financial service? Oh yeah, we can come to that. We can come to that. But can we speak about? So let's start with Taj. Let's get out of it. I think it's a very emotional thing. Jayanto, again for you and for entrepreneurs, you must remember this and never forget it. In 21st century, unlike when I and Raj worked, there was one boss who told us what to do and we had to follow, which means somebody did the thinking, we did the execution. In 21st century, the time that you are in, this will not work. Every single person. So this is what is the difference between the earlier 3 IRs and 4th IR. In 4th IR, you are not doing manual work. There are no factory. So in earlier 2 IRs, Industrial Revolution, and remember, if guys, you aren't familiar, this is the 4th IR that we are in. 4th IR is defined by World Economic Forum, right? 4th Industrial Revolution. We are right in the midst of 4th IR. What were the earlier 3 IR? You can Google it, but let me just say 2 or 3 naps because we don't have time. I think I have only 6 more minutes. In the earlier 2 IRs, they were factories. They were machines. And the organization structure was based on the military pattern. There was a general, rest of us were soldiers. The general said, do this, and we all followed. So what was required to be brought every day at 9 a.m. in the factory was the physical body, physical arm, the power. Using the power and not your brain. Don't use this, use this. Do repetitive job. Right? Come 21st century, in 21st century, you want the whole person to come to the office because you want him to use his brain, her brain, because they're going to be unexpected problem. Now let's come to Taj, and that is what Jayanto, you got to understand in technology companies, which Taj did very well. Now what did Taj do? When the attack happened, and you are aware of it, that many of the people, the staff of Taj gave up their life for their guests, the guests that they did not ever know. They did not know the guests, but they gave up their life for people they did not know. And the question is why? And like everything, it is called upbringing. Children, at my age, I have a son, right? He's 30 years old. He did not become him one day. He became him for the 30 years. I mean, last year he got married and moved away, for the 29 years that he stayed with us. That is where value and sanskar is got. So let's come to Taj. This is my understanding, and I have put it also in this book. What I and this is a known fact, so it's not just story, it's a fact. I put it in this book also with reference. What they do is, first and foremost, if Jayanto, keep this in mind, if you're a startup guy, and every startup guy, don't goddamn give your money to rock stars. Please don't, right? So what you got to do is think long term. So Taj, what they wanted was, they wanted staff who could provide extraordinary service. So if they took their staff from premier institute and paid them money, the turnover would be very high, because people from cities, from good institute, have high aspiration. Taj may not be able to fulfill it. They may move to Marriott, they may move to Hilton, or any other more international aspirational name. Taj is also equivalent, but I'm saying they can move because their aspiration. So what did Taj do? They said in one day, the nature of the person can't be formed. So they went to schools in places like Aurangabad, to schools, remember schools. And what did they ask the principal? Give us a name of students who have displayed 2 or 3 qualities. The first quality is they're always smiling. And third, they have an inner desire to help others. They're going to schools and asking principals to give them name of 10, 15 students in their school who are always smiling and who are willing to help others. Once they get the name of this school, then they call them, they identify out of them, and they give them a promise that you will get absorbed with Taj. Now imagine a guy in Aurangabad. Taj comes and says, we will take you. Will it make them happy or unhappy? Will their family be happy or unhappy? For them, the world has opened up. It's like getting a job in Apple for them. For me, getting a job in Apple is for them getting a job in Taj. Once they graduate out of school, then they put them through the Taj training program. In the Taj training program, what do? They train them to have only one thing. Their entire existence depends on serving the customer through the whole training program. So they already have a positive natural inclination to smile and to help others. They take that basic nature, bring them into their training school, and they polish it even more, how to be more helpful. What are some of the things? Our objective is not to win an argument with the customer. The customer is always right. Always start with saying yes. If you have to say no, then 2 people are required. So they train them in the training program. Then they go to Taj. There are almost 54, I don't remember the figure, but 54 unsupervised moments where this staff guy will come in touch with the guest. Unsupervised moment, which means moment of truth, where the guest is here, the staff is there. There's nobody from Taj higher up to control this interaction. And what do? At these moments, they train them how to conduct themselves to make sure that the customer feels good, positive emotion. Right? They train them. Then next, what do? Their inclination is to be helpful. They're always smiling. They're trained what to do. And they went through 1 year of training in the school. Now training as apprentice in Taj. So this is called operant conditioning. What is operant conditioning? That whenever guest comes, your desire is to put their interest ahead of yours. It's your second nature now. Operant conditioning, operant conditioning, operant conditioning. That is what happened to Polvo's dog. As soon as you're aware of that, right? Polvo's dog. There was a dog, there was food. And the experiment was that before they gave food to the dog, they would ring a bell. So it got associated in that dog that when the sound of bell comes, I will get food. Later on, they removed the food and they just rang the bell. Saliva came in the dog's mouth. Operant conditioning. So they train the people to put, no matter what the situation is, the interest of customer, the guest will always be ahead of theirs. And then on that fateful night when this happened, what was their natural tendency? Let's come to cricket. Virat Kohli. When he's facing a fast bowler, you think that time he decides what to do. He decides what to do is stored in his muscle memory. What is muscle memory? For hours and hours, they practice. So when they go for an IPL match or they play for India and the bowler is bowling, then they don't think. They let their muscle memory take over and they play the shot. That is what happened that day. They are naturally inclined to smile, they are naturally inclined to help. And once they do that, they're trained that they will be rewarded for this behavior in terms of promotion, recognition, whatever. It has become their second nature. The moment they saw a guest, they put their life, they put their interest ahead of theirs. And that is how they became a shield for the guest to be protected, and they laid their life. What is the lesson for you? The lesson for you is pick out people of the kind that you want, not at the moment. Don't start digging the well when the fire starts. Dig before that, understand what kind of people you want, select those kind of people, train them, empower them. And just one more thing about reward and recognition. There is a timeline in Taj. Let's say I'm the steward, Raj is my guest at Taj. I display exemplary behavior in that unsupervised moment of truth. Raj, the guest, is happy and he writes a small note. Rajesh Srivastava, excellent service. The moment this is written by a guest, it goes to my boss. Within 48, I think 24 or 48 hours, I have to be recognized by my boss. So what is the boss doing? He is rewarding me for a behavior that he wants me to display more of. Now come to us. In corporate, how often have you been rewarded for a job when you did well? How often the boss became insecure? How often the boss said, yeah, you did too much, you shouldn't have done so much. Why did you join the company? Right? Are you with me, sir?
Definitely.
Right. Okay. The next brand, anyone? Hey, listen, 6:33. Raj, should I continue?
Yeah, we are fine. I think, Priya, are we okay?
Yes, yes, we can.
Right. So there are two questions here. One is any brand in textile industry? Yes, of course. Can I just share one more example from my life and career, because it's very, very important. The bagpiper story. It's very, very important because I think most of us get misled seeing that it's a whiskey brand. Can I just share that story? So there are a lot of important lessons I learned in my life that made my career my career. You know what? If you really want to make world-class brand, now be obsessed with it. Like, okay, at my age, please don't. Once I was also young, right? So don't look at me this way. I was always this age. So let's go back to the time when many of you guys are young. And when you get into a relationship, aren't you obsessed with that relationship? Aren't you thinking always about that relationship, about the girl, about the guy, whoever in relationship you are in? Aren't you obsessed with it? Aren't you emotionally engaged with it? That is the same thing that you got to do when you are absolutely in love with your brand. I was absolutely in love with my brand. I can just show you a picture also. When I got married in 1987, I used to handle bagpiper. When I got married in 1989, 2 years later, I was wearing a bagpiper tie. Has any one of you worn your brand tie when you got married? I did it. I was absolutely hopelessly in love with it. Right? Let me just tell you two things about it, because that's very, very important. Consumer insight. Remember the first two things. What happened was, I don't want to take the real, because it will cause some problem. So let's say I did my MBA, and from one of these good institutes. So most of us got jobs. Now, when you are a student and you get a job and you really get a city job, then guys come and say, yeah, you have to give a party, and the party has to be of the city level, right? I'm talking of 85, like city level job you got now, you want a city level party. So what does that mean? No Old Monk rum, none of that tharana that you get or you drink every day. This time we want premium whiskey, right? And the year is 85. Royal Challenge was there. And so let's say, whatever, right? Let's say Royal Challenge was a premium whiskey. I'm just giving you one hypothetical example. So this guy comes to me and says, this guy who got a job in Citibank, he says, yeah, all my friends are pestering me that I need to give them a treat, and the treat has to be of the city level, right? So I can't buy, I don't have money. and I don't know what to do. So I said, listen, yeah, let's do one thing. He says, what? What is your budget? So he says, my budget can only buy, let's say, a mass brand. I said, well, like, get that brand. Then we went to one of those kabadi walas, right? The guys who take second-hand stuff, and we bought a bottle of a authentic scotch, right? With a carton and everything. And that time it was available for 20 rupees. Beautiful carton bottle, but the bottle was empty. And that time it was not one-way pourer. You just opened the cap and it was there. What we did was we took this mass whiskey, poured it into it, and then for whatever reason, we knew some bootleggers, and bootleggers have something with which in 1 second they can seal it. I mean, for people who know bootlegging, you will know that it takes less than a second for that guy to seal it, right? He sealed it. For a guy like me who worked in alcohol, I can make out that this is a spurious thing, right? By looking at how the sealing is done. But for normal guys, you can't make out. So now what we did was, we bought the mass whiskey, we bought an empty bottle and a carton of the Scotch whiskey, right? The Scotch whiskey. We poured the mass into Scotch whiskey, put the seal in the carton. Now I said, chalo. And we did 3 of those packs. And I told this guy that do one thing. Get the guy who's, one of those, every gang has those guys, I know my Scotch, etc. So I said, get that guy who's that stud in your group and ask him, here's a carton, take it out and open it. Sound. As soon as he opens it, he will know that he has broken the seal, and the sound of breaking seal will tell him it is authentic. Now, what is the consumer insight I had? Indians don't know the taste of whiskey, so they can't distinguish between good or bad whiskey. What they drink is label. Right? This was my basic understanding, based on which we did. We did it because there was no money. Now, you got it, 3 Scotch bottles. Inside it is what this guy could afford, sealed everything. 7 guys come in for the party. The stud is called, hey, listen, yaar, open it, man. This guy took out the bottle and he opened it. The sound of this thing opening, the seal opening gave him a confidence with Scotch whiskey. He poured and he added, right? And everybody enjoyed it, because after 3rd drink, no one knows what the blend is, right? In any case, these are students. They've never tasted Scotch whiskey. So how will they know what is Johnny Walker and what is Royal Challenge? So they had it. So that was the first time I discovered that the experiment that people don't drink blend, people drink image, was registered in my mind. When we came to Bagpiper, and I want to tell you the second story. Name I will not take, but Raj knows the gentleman. So he was the deputy president in Bangalore. One day on Sunday, he called me and he told me, so tell me what's happening on your brands. Now, believe me, this gentleman was sitting here. In front of him was TV, and the test match was being played in Bangalore. And I was sitting on this side, and he asked me, tell me what's happening. And he was watching the match. So I was telling him, what a great job we were doing. And suddenly he says, hold on. I said, so what happened? He says, Kapil Dev has broken the world record. That time in Bangalore, I think he took that 437 wicket or something. He says, hold on. I said, so why? He says, that guy's broken the world record, Kapil Dev. So I looked at him, I said, sir, even we can break the world record. He looked at me, so what did you say? I said, sir, even we can break the world record. He says, how? So by then his interest was towards me, because he's the boss. And if I break a record, he will get the credit. So he he put it on me. Sir, I said, if you take a look at Bagpiper, we have been growing at, let's say, whatever percentage. Impact International is a global magazine. In global magazine, John, and the year is 1988, right? Let's take it 88, whatever. So if you look at Impact International, which tracks global brands, what they show is that in the last 3-4 years, Johnny Walker Red Label is the highest selling brand in the world, and that is selling 7 million cases. 7 million cases. And it's not growing. So if we continue to grow at this rate, we can overtake Johnny Walker Red Label to become the world's largest. He was wonderstruck. He says, can that happen? I said, yes, sir, it can happen. And that is how we came up with this dream to make Bagpiper the world's largest. Where did this idea come from? I did not go to my boss's house on Sunday to tell him we will make it the world's largest. But if you are emotionally engaged with the brand, then this is what happens. Now let's come to the second part. The second part is Dr. Vijay Mallya, everybody gave an approval or whatever, right? We'll make it the world's largest. Now the next question is, how do you make it the world's largest? So half the Janta came and told me, you know what? You took the biggest problem on your head because the blend, you should improve the blend. So all the guys who said we should improve the blend, I called them to a room. Again, I did the study. In one, I put Scotch whiskey. In other, I put my Bagpiper blend. So here, the experiment was slightly different. I took a Johnny Walker bottle, put Bagpiper into it, got it sealed. I took Bagpiper bottle, put Johnny Walker blend into it, sealed it. Now, I got these studs in our company, says, yeah, taste it. So when I poured Bagpiper out of Johnny Walker bottle and I gave it to the stud, I said, taste and tell me how it is. He says, yeah, so smooth. My throat is so good. My stomach is feeling so good. And when I poured Johnny Walker out of Bagpiper, Indian whiskey, burning my throat. Oh, terrible. That's when I discovered that the blend is good. Blend is no problem. What is required is to enhance the image. Then we upgraded the packaging. We made blend, whatever else we did. But the most important money we spent was on the image. Because people don't drink whiskey, they drink image. This is based on a consumer insight. If I had tried to improve blend and bring it closer to Scotch, it is like taking Maruti and trying to make it like Mercedes-Benz. It's not possible. Right? Okay. Friends, this is what I had to share. There is 15 more minutes. If you have any question, any comment, anything, I would love to. Any service brand. Taj was a service brand. ITC, so I can read out the comment, but is there anything anyone would like to ask? Priyadarshini, any comment on what we did? Hey, please, your feedback is very, very important. Mr. Ramkumar, Mr. Srinivasan, any comment, any perspective, any viewpoint, believable, terrible, waste of time, learned something, did not know. Anything, anyone? So what should I do now?
I think this is Arun.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how to create a brand for an advisory service? There is no product, it's a service, but it's
yes, I agree. Just repeat it for a
advisory service. Advisory
service. So can I just tell you, advisory service, can you take any service that you wish? Is it management consulting?
I am doing a financial advisory. That is my business. I drive it via the application technology app created. How do I create a brand for this advisory? I'm not selling any product. It's just
So your name, sir, can you just repeat your name?
Arun Ramaswamy. Arun Ramaswamy.
Arun, so can I just do a small interactive session with you?
Yeah.
Firstly, Arun, what are you selling here? A product or a service?
I'm selling a service.
Arun, wrong. If you sell a service, so Arun, here is the first insight that you should have. Quit selling a service. Why? Because if you take coffee, if you buy Nescafe, the margin as a product, the margin is here. Price is here. If you sell it as a service in one of the Udupi restaurant where I stay in Mumbai, the price you can get here. But if you sell it, that same coffee as an experience, you get it way out, meaning thick margin and higher price premium. What is the lesson for you? The lesson for you is that you will not look upon this product, advisory product or a fintech product, as a service. You have to look upon it as an experience. Can I give you one example? Jayant, please be close by, because this is a technology product. And Arun, you would also know it. Have you heard of this product called Intute?
Intute, yeah. They're a fintech product producers, yeah.
Right? Now, why can't you follow the experience of Intute?
Okay.
You know what they have done? Can you note it down?
Yeah, please.
It's called Design to Delight.
Design to Delight, okay.
Right. Now, Arun, I just want to just fill up our team on everything about Intute and Design to Delight, because it's very similar to what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
In parts, right? They are also into financial products. You are also, they are the world's largest and you want to be the world's largest, right? That's the difference now. Now,
Yes.
so here, and friends, this is what I wish you to remember. Intuit is a product. It's a $12 billion company, if I recollect the figure right. But what do? They are into the most boring job that you could ever do, and which each one of you is doing, is basically they help you put your income tax return in an easy format. So what do they have? They have that boring Excel sheet. They made it interesting. I'm just exaggerating, but Arun, you can check me. You can tell me if I'm exaggerating. It's basically Excel that they made it interesting.
Yeah.
Now what do they do? What do they do? They say that we are not selling a product or a service, we are selling an experience. What is selling an experience? That at the end of the day, once my customer use my product, it should evoke positive emotion. And you know how do they measure it? They get people, so what they have is they get people into their lab and get them to use the Intuit product, and they don't speak. Suppose I'm using an Intuit product and I can't find it, my facial expression will capture the frown. If I get it easily, I'll be delighted. So what are they doing? They've taken a boring tax of income tax, financial products, and they made it engaging. They're trying to sell it as an experience, which is what they call design to delight. What is the bottom line that they have? Once people start use my product, after using it, it should evoke positive emotion, which means what? Next time when they require to use this, they would always think of Intuit.
Okay. Got it.
Arun, are you with me?
Yes, sir. I'm very much with you. Yeah.
Now, are you getting the point why I said you've defined the problem incorrectly? You're not in the services business, you're in the experiences business of solving customers' problem, and at the end of it, making sure that it evokes positive emotion.
Very true, sir. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Right? Thanks.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Arun,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. It's like a question for me. Yeah, I'm so happy.
Yeah, actually, I think I'm prepping up. I think the reason for I was under the notion that I think it's either product or service. That's what I think tangible. Experience is not tangible. I think because I'm meeting a lot of,
Oh, please, Arun, you can't do this. You can't do this. Now here, please make a note. First, you made a note, design to delight. Now here are the 5 things that you got to do. Write down. Reliability,
Yeah.
assurance, appearance, empathy, and responsiveness.
responsibility.
Have you written
Okay.
down?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Have you measured your brand on these parameters?
Not all. I think responsiveness is there, reliability is there. Yeah. Not on the other things.
Then,
Assurance is little bit. Yeah. Assurance is little bit.
oh, you
Sure.
can't say little bit, no, with the customer, because the moment it
Yeah,
is little bit, it will evoke negative emotion and then they won't use your product.
Correct. Yeah. Parameters to be measured. Got it. Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. These 5. Yeah. Very much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. I just
Hey, my
eye
pleasure,
opener.
Arun. My pleasure. Hey, listen, I want to share this with you guys. Why am I so passionate in sharing this knowledge? The answer is very simple. You see my hair, I have another 3-4 years to live, maybe 5 years. But if I'm able to transfer my knowledge and wisdom to you through you guys, I will live another 50 years.
Thank you.
That is my mission, to leave India in a better shape than I found it in, one person at a time. And to me, it's a mission. Therefore, I'm passionate. Right. Any other question anyone has?
I think, Rajesh, there is a question. We have launched an online goal saving scheme. We want to know how to generate organic growth.
Just one sec. Where is it? Who's
There in the chat box, somebody.
Yeah.
It's Ankit. Ankit has asked. Why don't you ask the question?
Hey, Ankit, just let me first get the question.
Oh, sorry.
This is Ram Kumar here.
Ram Kumar.
Yeah, I got it. Ram, I got it. Let me read the question and then I'm going to ask you something. We have launched an online gold saving scheme. We want to know how to generate organic growth through word of mouth without spending on Facebook, Google ads. Ram Kumar, I just want you to remember this, and please never forget it. And the thing that I want you to tell me, and you have to then ask me this question: if you want to build a great business, are you in it tactically to make money, or are you there to help people improve their life?
I am in it to help people save money, particularly for the middle class. So I call my brand. I want to build a brand with a purpose to promote savings among them, and to promote this philosophy of save first and spend the rest.
Terrific. Agree with you. Ram, let me just compliment you. Your thinking is a 21st century thinking. So can I just say one thing? When you said purpose, what you meant was that your company will have dual color bottom line. What is dual color bottom line? One is economic profit, which is making margin, and second is white. Help improve people's life through saving. Right? Now let's come here. Now, Ram, remember this, and this is my contribution to the world. And here's my contribution to the world. Just one second. My contribution to the world is, and I've taken 3 companies because they are well known. The first is Apple, second is Amazon, third is Facebook. And we can talk of Taj, we can talk of any other company. Choose any one that you wish. Apple, Amazon, Facebook, any one of them. They are great companies, right? Choose any one.
I'll choose Amazon.
Amazon. Ram, from that time Jeff Bezos started Amazon, 97, till today, 2021. He, according to me, this is my perspective. I put it out in this book. This is my perspective based on speaking to people who have worked, who are my friends who have worked with Amazon and worked in close proximity with some of the leading people in Amazon. Here's my thing. Jeff Bezos, from the time he started Amazon till today, runs Amazon based on one single question, which is called one central question, one CQ. You know what that one central question is? Ram?
How to increase value for the customers?
No. The question itself is so amorphous, no one will understand. It is like, how do I grow rich? A question has to actually provoke you to take action, right? So can I just share with you, Ram, if you worked in Amazon and you reported to Jeff, or let's say you met Jeff Bezos and you said, hey, Jeff, I got an idea. So Jeff will ask you, hey, Ram, good, you got an idea. What idea? So you'll say, Jeff, I think we can increase the margin of Amazon. He says, Ram, why? Because Jeff Bezos has only one central question based on which he runs company. And that question is, whatever decision we take, will it reduce the friction in the shopping process or will it improve the shopping experience? From the time he started till today, this is the only question that he's answering. Not only him, but everybody below him. When every person in Amazon, big or small, take big and small decisions and everybody from top to bottom answering one question, then what happens? Does the friction in shopping process increase or go down?
It reduces.
And therefore, we have a positive experience, therefore brand loyalty. So the question that you have to ask is, it's probably not the proper question that you've got. What you have to ask is, what is my one central question based on which me and I, Ram Kumar, will run the company for the next 3 decades?
My question has always been how to make people save and without breaking it and spending it away. How to make people save for their children's future. Basic, that is the question, because people say that they want to save, but they are not saving.
Ram, 100%. But in this 1 minute, you have given me 3 different versions of the one central question. And if you don't have the focus of what is the central question, your decision itself will be 3 different directions. And once you have that one central question, which you spend time in framing, then you don't require a Facebook or Google ads. I'll give you an instance. I have not taken a Facebook or a Google ad. And during COVID times, there are 3 channels with which you promote the book. One is airport, one is city bookstores, and one is online. 2 city bookstores and airport closed. I had only 1. But what was my objective? I will tell you very clearly. My objective is to make this book a bestseller. That is my central question. Why bestseller? You will ask me. The answer is very simple. The moment the bestseller tag comes here, it will actually inspire confidence in many more people to read it. So what have I done? The moment those two channels close down, I'll give you an instance right here. The gentleman is sitting here. Raj. I approached Raj. He has, you know that he has a platform called Business Clinic. What did I tell him? Raj, I want to sell my book. But if I try and sell my book, people won't buy it. So what did we do? We did two events. Raj, can I just share that?
Yeah, please.
The first thing is that we did an event. Right? It was a paid program. And believe me, and I just want to also, Raj, I am your friend. I need to share because I can take liberties with you. Raj is my friend for 35 years. You ask Raj, if I want Raj to help me, I have to make sure that Raj's interest is protected, and with the relationship Raj has with me, Raj is able to improve his performance or this company's performance. So I gave him an idea that why don't you know so many people? Why don't every month you offer a certification course? And the first certification course, we did it together. It was called the Experience Marketing course, where we tested out the price point, the certification, how to deliver it, and 3 more have happened. I'm sure it's become even better. It is the idea that I gave. And what was the idea? That everyone who signed up for the course got this book free. Then before that, there was a program that was done for a corporate house. Whatever money was paid, that is different. But what was given to every single participation? This book. So because my one central question is, everything that I do is based on one, how can I make this book a bestseller? So Priyadarshini, I did not say, but what is the entire objective? I'm trying to promote this book in a manner that it doesn't look too obvious to you. Are you with me? So Ram, if you, and can I just say this? This is Einstein, that's not me. You can say you are an idiot, you can just walk off. But you can't say that to Einstein. So what did Einstein say? He says, if my life depended on solving a problem and I had 60 minutes to solve that problem, I would spend 55. I would spend 55 minutes in framing the right question. Because if the question is right, then the answer is obvious. So what you want, and Ram, please take this very seriously. Ram, what you want is an answer, but you have not framed your question correctly. And Albert Einstein will tell you wherever he is that, Ram, please spend 55. If you have 1 hour in which to save your life, spend majority of that time in framing the right question. Can I give you another example, right? And this is from this guy. I think, Raj, I may have told you this story, right? What had happened is we launched this carton and it became a big hit. So this company where I work, where Raj was making this carton, Raj, you know that gentleman, he wanted then to extend this brand to Scotch whiskey. That didn't happen. I also left the company and whatever happened. They wanted to launch a Scotch whiskey under this trademark. This was done in London, Design Bridge. Design Bridge was the agency that made this. So my boss called me, he says, now we want to extend this to Scotch whiskey. They've done a good job. Let's hire them to design a pack for Scotch. I said, fine, sir. So I went to London to brief. I came back. So my boss asked me, briefed? I said, yes, sir. When will they give final? I said, sir, 4 weeks. 1 week later, Ram, he came, my boss meets me in the corridor. He says, have you followed up in London? I said, no, sir. Are you follow up? Otherwise your work will get delayed. So I called up this guy. His name was Frank. I said, Frank, what happened? Any feedback? He says, no, don't worry. We have told you in 4 weeks, he'll give you. I said, fine. I told my boss, sir, he's saying, don't worry, he'll give in 4 weeks. Arey, you don't understand. Follow up. Second week, he meets me. So, have you followed up? I said, no, sir. He said he'll give in 4 weeks. Arey, you don't understand. Work will get delayed. Call. So that time you had to do trunk call. I trunk called. I said, Frank, what happened? Yeah, my boss is after me. Give me some status. He looks at me. He says, yeah, listen, Rajesh, I'm not being racist nor anything, but I'm giving you a feedback. He says, you know, what's the problem with you? The problem with you is, or with my kind of thinking is that as soon as you get a problem, you jump to a solution. You know, you got a problem. and you immediately come out with a solution, and then you start implementing that solution, executing that solution. Because you've not thought about the problem, therefore your answer is also sketchy, and because the answer is sketchy, the execution is sketchy, and therefore this problem does not get solved. You again come back to the drawing board, again look at the problem, come out with another answer, again execute it faulty, again go back, and you are going around in circle. And he says the way we work is that we spend, out of 4 weeks, we'll spend almost 3 weeks in identifying the problem that we want actually to solve. And once we've got that problem, it will just take 1 week to execute it. We are still defining the various contours of the problem that we are faced with. What is the answer? And this was the biggest lesson, Ram, I got in my life. The lesson was that if you have any problem, spend time in framing the right question. The problem in my system is, in our education system, as soon as we get that SSC, I did SSC, IIT, JEE, you start answering the answer. And because we are conditioned, operant conditioned, even in real life, we fall into that trap. So Ram, my suggestion is frame the right question, answer will be obvious, then these things you don't need to do, it will be self-evident. Hey, there's stunned silence. I hope I have not overshot my brief. I just enjoyed it. I just enjoyed talking to you guys. Thank you so much. Raj, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rajesh.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a wonderful session. A lot of insights, new insights, I would say. And thank you so much for being here today on a, I mean, of course, it's a holiday for us, but still being here with us today. And, you know, taking, I mean, I'm sure the participants have had a lot of new insights, taken away a lot of points, and the interaction was definitely great, especially you mentioning the brands and, you know, correlating it with the, you know, points. So thank you so much for that. Sriram sir, if you're available and you want to speak few points, you want to say a few things. I'm not sure whether,
Yeah,
okay. I think
Rajesh, we are going to have a mentoring session also every month. I think those dates we will keep. If you're free, please join. I mean, please come join us. We'll have a interaction with the team here.
yeah.
I mean, it'll be very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
So shall I?
And this is just a second. This is Akila. Once again, thank you so much for this excellent session, Rajesh. That was outstanding. And rest assured that we'll come back to you again and again.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Akila. Thanks for
Absolutely.
trusting me again. And Ram and everybody who I answered, I hope I've not offended you. I really care. I want to share my wisdom. I really want you to become the most successful brand India has seen. You need any help, let me know.
Sure, sir. Yeah.
That's really nice of you, sir.
Hey, God bless you guys. And what else can I say? Akila, thank you so much.
Pleasure, Rajesh.
you,
Thanks,
Priya.
VMR. Thanks,
Thank you,
Rajesh.
Akila.
Thanks
Thank
for this.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks.
friends.
Bye.
Bye. See you guys.
Bye.
Thank you.